due to Allah, honors to our Prophet Noble Ali, honors to our movement, Moorish Divine National Movement, honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey Bacon, and the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the UNIA. Honors to all leaders, past, present, future leaders, the harbingers who paved the way for Moorish Americans to be in existence. Today we're going to continue from the show from last night. You as versus versus us. So we have to be very mindful of everything that we do. Because you know what? They're cracking down. As I said in one of my shows, I don't recall which one it was, but one day they're going to start knocking down people's doors and pulling people out in the middle of the night. That's the best time to catch somebody slipping, is in the middle of the night, knocking down people's doors, bringing out citizens in the middle of the night. That's what they're going to do. ICE. ICE. And my thing is this. Y'all claim that, you guys got all this and all that. You got all these fancy cars. You got all this fancy jewelry. And all in all, you can't take it with you. Right now, these human camps need to be filled up, and they need bodies. They need immigrants. They need Latino, Chicano. They need all of them. They need all of you. All of y'all who are U.S. citizens and came over here and got your citizenship, they need you. All y'all who were born here, who are U.S. citizens, they need you. They need you to be locked up in cages until due process. Because right now the executive order is hot. Ain't nobody paying attention. Everybody's in their own world, doing as they please, do what they feel, and don't even know that everything that you supposedly own can be taken from you. You don't own those houses. You don't own that land. Trust me. All these people who own stuff, they're going to have to give it back. Let's call the facts what it is. All this land, all this time I bought a house. How are you going to buy a house with debt currency that has no value? Where's your gold and silver to back up for what you purchased in the land for? You gotta follow these paperworks to get this house in your name. But in order for you to do that, there are certain steps and requirements you must do to stop your contract with the state. Because anytime you have a contract with the state of whatever state you're in, you are subservient, you're subjected to all those laws and statutes, so-called law statutes, so to speak. They tell you that you can't defend yourself in your own house. That's a problem. They tell you that you can't harm somebody for defending yourself, and they're going to look at the person who's more messed up, and you're going to be the one go to jail. I thought there was a thing called innocent until proven guilty. Well, I guess you got to be guilty until you're proven innocent. We're in a flip-flop democracy here in the United States Corporation and supposedly the USA. They're talking about we have good opportunity here. Well, if there's good opportunity, then how come the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, and you know what I'm saying, don't know anything about their culture and their history? How come they're being deprived of their culture and history? Why? Because the Rockefeller Rothschild family is the one who controls all this stuff that's going on. They control what you read, what you see on TV. They're connected to the Masonic order, and they're connected to the Jewish synagogues of Satan. You can go anywhere in the state, and I can guarantee you, Rockefeller's making money. Look what they got. They got Rockaware. They got British Knights, Reebok. They own all these corporations. That's how they're getting rich. They're getting rich off of what they supply to you and you buy. What you buy, you consume. Now, what they did, the Muslims of America, the Moorish Americans, the Asiatics of this service, when they start coming out with these mini skirts, showing your flesh, being a Jezebel, being a harlot. If you don't show flesh, then you don't look cute. You're not going to be noticed by a man. Who came up with that diabolical idea? I need to know. And I'm going to tell you who did it. Do you see the so-called Negro blacks in colors controlling stuff? Having the dope and all this other stuff being brought into the community? No. Do you see the Negro blacks in colors suffering and they can't get no land while everybody else who is an immigrant getting land? And this land belongs to the so-called Negro blacks in colors who are indigenous, who are Moorish Americans? You tell me, how does that make sense after after 1865, after physical bondage and slavery was over with? You tell me, how is it just that our people are still suffering here in the United States of America, but we're still calling ourselves a crayon, and we're still subservient to what the European powers that be in the so-called white power structure, what they teach us in these schools, and which is a poor, worst education ever. How are you going to tell someone else that they came from Africa? What part of Africa did we come from then? What part? You can't say Ivory Coast because there's no records of it. We were already here. We were already here before the colonists got here. You know what I'm saying? We were here before. We were rapping before Eminem became a rapper. Matter of fact, he's a candy rapper. He's a diabolical candy rapper who talks gibberish, who don't mean nothing when he say. And then you got all these ones who following behind him, Trick, and all these ones. Yo, you guys ain't talking about nothing. Leave the hip hop and Public Enemy. Leave anything twerks and rap music and listen to Eminem and all these crazy ones have no purpose in a child's education for them to grow and learn how to respect the elders and know how to be a good, faithful member of society. Instead of being a good, faithful member of society, the society in this indoctrination is teaching us to be a menace to society. Not sit here and tell me that this country is all good and we got all this gang banging vines going on. All this gang banging vines going on has a lot to do with being gang banging on the plantation. You're probably wondering why your brother man Moorish Life said gang banging on plantation. You probably like, Brother Moorish Life, what do you mean by that? Well, I'm gonna tell you what gang banging on a plantation is. Gang banging on a plantation is when you are gang banging in the hood and you calling out a hood name or a name that Akaya or Long Beach, Compton, Watts. These names are names of European slaveholders, European people. So this is why I call it gang banging on a plantation. When you go to work and you go working for the boss, the master, you are working on a plantation. And guess what? And yet still you're chasing a dollar just to try to make ends meet, and you're stressing yourself out daily to make capital so that way you can make extra money on the side, so that way you can have yourself something. That's more stress upon anybody, any father or mother, or any husband or father who choose to make sure their children have a good lifestyle, and all these young children want to do is complain. They don't have the new Xbox. They don't have an iPhone. You don't need a damn iPhone. Screw that. Clip that. You don't need no iPhone. The only phone you need is a handheld device to make calls. You don't need to be going online. You don't need to be going on Instagram and all them places. You don't need to be doing none of that. What you need to do is use the phone for mom and pop, and that's it. You need to be calling your friends and saying who did what, who said what, he said, she said, blah blah blah. That's all nonsense. It ain't gonna mean nothing. There's nothing you can do about the problem when you find out anyways. And then you wanna act like you adults, like you run something, like you pay the bills. And you try to tell mama where to go. Mama, I want to be a girl because I feel like because God made a mistake. Oh, really? And this is why you got all this madness going on with the LGBTQ going on. All these Europeans over here, Sodom and Gomorrah, over here, want the little children to twerk so they can give them money, so that way they can come over here and make a little money for being LGBTQ. Come on now, are you serious right now? They parading with the little babies wearing the so-called rainbow. Don't even know that the rainbow means it's a promise from Allah. And over here going to switch what Allah's promise is to their promise, that their promise this and their promise that. But you can't reproduce yourself. You got a whole bunch of test tube babies. That's why you got all these sperm banks. Because these women can't reproduce themselves. They know that this woman, they so-called wife, or whatever, they can't reproduce themselves because there's two women, yo. Two women can't reproduce themselves. Two men can't reproduce themselves. What do they call it? Anal sex? Sodomy? Are you serious? And this is what you educate the children with? Tell me how a child's going to learn this and how they're going to grow and be a better person in society. And all you're doing is gang-banging LGBTQ. You gang-banging this and that. You gang-banging hardship. You gang-banging folly. You teach them how to be a Ku Klux Klan and all this other stuff, and being talking about white power this, white power that. You ain't even white. You're off-white. Again, this is the issue. This is the problem, and this is part 2 of what I was speaking about yesterday. You want to drive all. Look, the problem in our society is right now, Nissan. You want to buy new cars. You know what? Your budget does not fit the criteria of you could be able to afford it. Then not to mention over $2,000 in rent. Who is helping you pay this car note? Who? Honestly. Instead of you working for the man, you're not working for yourself. You're not working with your family. Your mama's a mammy. Your papa's a pappy. Your mama ain't teaching you how to sew. She didn't teach you how to make clothes. She didn't teach you nothing. Parade and be promiscuous and go have sex with anybody they want to or whatever. Then you know they got baby number 2, baby drama number 2, and they don't love each other. They were just having a one-night stand. Yeah, my pops told me about one-night stands, and guess what? It ain't what it's cracked up to be. So I'm gonna tell you this: you gotta be mindful. You gotta be in control of your thinking, and the only way you're gonna be in control of your thinking is you have to know that your condition can be better, and on top of that, you gotta be proclaimed as Moorish American. So-called Negro blacks and colors need a nationality. The Chinese man got his nationality. The people from Bangladesh got their nationality. The Japanese and Indian people from India got their nationality. The Native Americans don't have a nationality. The Puerto Ricans definitely don't have a nationality. Costa Rica don't have a nationality. Guam don't have a nationality. Solomon Islands don't have a nationality. Come on now, the list just goes on and on. Name the people who emasculated the slaveholder. That's who did it. This is the reason why you got all these dudes dressing like in women's garments, when the Bible specifically teaches us that the woman is not supposed to wear men's garments, and the men is not supposed to be wearing women's garments. Therefore, it's abomination. Y'all can say this is hate speech. You can say this is a hate crime all you want. It's not hate. If you got something to get with it, hate the church for it. Hate the Christianity for it. This is what's in the teachings. You cannot reproduce yourself. And then on top of that, especially being a transgender, do you know that you are misleading the people to think that you're this and that? And all of a sudden, now you are deep in commitment and deep in lust with these people. And all of a sudden, they got you under hypnosis. And all of a sudden, now you can't get out. So now you all of a sudden, now you stuck with this man with a broomstick, stuck with fallopian tubes. So how are you going to take two women to reproduce themselves? She'll carry a strap on, but that's nothing. That's a dildo. Y'all gotta stop playing these roles like this is a relationship. Relationship is to relate, and that's not a relationship. That's death waiting to happen. Because as soon as something going wrong and your emotions get involved, you be ready to kill somebody. You ain't thinking. One day you want to have children, but how you gonna have children? You sterile. Huh? How are you going to have children between man and man and woman and woman? How? You going to adopt? What if there's no option for adoption, and then what? How are you going to have children? You going to take someone else's children? Things that people do don't make sense, and feelings is what leads you on astray. Feelings can get you caught up into something that you can't get yourself out of. But yet and still, you don't understand the conditions that come along with it. You accept certain things, but you can't accept the truth for what it is. But yet and still, you want to take the truth, you want to bend it to your understanding, so to speak, and all of a sudden you want to do is just keep hurting yourself daily. But yet and still, the only person you harming is yourself and the person you supposedly love. I need y'all to hear me out when I say this. These dudes who are dressing like women, you know you're going to get murdered on the site. Because some of these dudes who don't know the difference between man and woman or transgenders, they're going to think that you're a woman, and then all of a sudden they find out that you're the same sex. They're going to hurt you because you're misleading them. Same thing goes for woman to woman. Same thing. You see what I'm saying? Y'all don't see what's going on. Y'all don't see how you under European psychology, European hypnosis. European psychology is what teaches you to have these behaviors. But yet still, you don't see it. You're too deaf, dumb, and blind. It's okay. Because since you're too deaf, dumb, and blind, then you don't understand the situation. You don't understand what's going on. The only thing you operating in on is going back to what I was saying, your personal feelings. Well, there's so much information. Do you understand that prenatal medication, it will harm your baby? You don't need to take those pre-medication. How is that good for the baby? Baby don't need no popping, no pill, no medication. That's what making these babies crazy. You wonder why your baby got autism. Prenatal medication. Yet still, you are lost in the sauce. You don't know what's going on. You can't tell from a doorknob. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about life, but yet still young people still try to tell elders about life, and then you just beginning life. How are you expecting for people to grow and reproduce themselves if they cannot do so, if you keep indoctrinating with this LBGTQ, the Sodom and Gomorrah demonstration? And then how you going to be letting your children listen to this crappy music to begin with that's not going to uplift them? Let's call the facts what it is. Let's truly call the facts what it is. Because at the end of the day, guess who suffers? Not you. Your child suffers. You want your child to have a husband. Your daughter to have a husband. You want your son to have a wife. All of a sudden now they flip flop. Now they're the opposite. How? Please explain how. Tell me. How do you expect to have a fruitful marriage and be able to reproduce yourself and you can't reproduce yourself? Let's just be honest. Let's be truly honest. You're not honest with yourself. You hate yourself. You're cheating yourself because you don't understand yourself. And I'm just being honest. You can sit here, hate me, hate the truth that I speak all you want. You can do that all you want, and guess what? I don't give a Y'all not ready for this lifestyle. You say you're ready, but you ain't ready. So now, all of a sudden, your child's stuck in this hypnosis, eating the wrong food, because you're feeding your child the wrong food. You're feeding them pork, the worst poison ever, and all of a sudden now, you can't even think straight. Your baby can't think straight. Your baby bouncing off the rockers. They're telling you to pump your baby full of medication, and you subservient to the doctor, so the doctor will get rich off of you. Yeah, still, you ain't paying attention. You don't care. If you really understood what life is truly about,